I sold over $4 million of online coaching in the last few years. And in this video, I'm going to share with you one of the most expensive lessons that I've learned that's cost me so much money, time, and honestly, resentment. And so this has to do with hiring. As you're scaling, how do we actually scale? It's a function of leverage, right? So we can't just simply send one more message to one more person. We have to send one message to something that's going to get it to 10 or 100 or 1,000 people, right? And so how do we do that at scale? We have to either build systems or hire people to buy back our time so we can focus on bigger things to grow the business even more. So let's talk about the people component, right? And obviously, before we get into people, you want to eliminate stuff, then automate, and then finally delegate when you can't do the other ones. And one lesson I'll leave with you right now is people kill profitability if you don't protect productivity. And so make sure that like the people you do hire are really productive. So anyways, let's get into it. So you always hear the quote, hire slow, fire fast. It's so simple, yet so simple to ignore, especially if you're a people pleaser like me. And I've always had tendencies to like, I don't know, avoid conflict, or like, I want everyone to win and everyone to be happy, and I want to be likable and stuff like that. Right. And so that's like spiritual growth that I've had to go through as an entrepreneur, as a leader, to work through that, to be a little bit more strict and a little bit more like harsh, so to say. And especially when it comes to team members, because one of the worst things you can do is keep people on that don't belong. And if you have to ask yourself, is this person an A player? They are not an A player. If you even have to ask the question if they are one, they're not. That means they're B or C and they need to go, because there should only be A players in each of your seats, especially if you want to scale in a way that is very like profitable and lean and mean, then you should only have a couple of seats, right? Appointment setter, closer, client success manager. It's basically really all you need. Maybe like an executive assistant or a virtual assistant and like a video editor, but those are kind of like more on the part-time, like contractor side of things, right? And so that said, if we only have like one butt per seat, then those butts in those seats need to be really damn good. And so there's no room for somebody that's not a true A player. So one of my biggest mistakes is keeping people on for too long. And what happens there is when somebody's like checked out, their energy becomes like stale or like stagnant, and you feel it, they feel it, their KPIs show it. But I've made the mistake before of like, if I know a team member is like half in, half out, they're doing their own thing, and like they're starting this other offer, or like they want to go over here, or like something like that, but they're also still doing the something for me. Like I feel that, I notice that, and the mistake I've made is like not addressing it and doing something about it sooner. And so the reason it's a mistake is because for example, I had an appointment setter, and him and I crushed it, scaled to like 200K a month, just him and I in like our first 8 months. And then I accidentally helped him start an offer teaching other people how to become appointment setters. And I was like helping him with his ads and stuff like that. And then he started making too much money, like way more money than he was making with me in his offer he was doing part-time. But that was taking some of his time and energy and attention away from setting for me. And so as a result, booked calls started to drop a little bit, revenue and cash started to drop a little bit, started signing fewer clients, and things started to slow down a little bit on my end, right? Now I'm really happy for him, and I'm glad that I helped him do that, but I should have cut the umbilical cord a lot sooner. And so what I had to do, because like after a month or two of this, I was like, hey bro, let's hop on a call. And so we did. And I was like, hey dude, I think I got to kick you out of the nest. And basically like fired him. And I was like, dude, I will help you crush it. And I think this is the best move for you and your entrepreneurial journey, because when you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it's never going to work. When you're sitting on the fence, don't know if you're going to go down this side or this side, then you're never going to get anywhere, because where attention goes, energy flows. And in this case, like energy is a representation, money is a representation of energy. And where your attention goes, that's where like the money flows. And so when he was 100% all in with my business, there was 100% of the money. And then when he was 50-50, then there was 50% of the money. And so that wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for him. Ultimately, in the long run, it was great for both of us. But in the short term, it wasn't because he was not making as much money as he could have if he went all in with his business. And so that's kind of what I did. I was like, hey, bro, I think we got to call it because I want you to absolutely crush it. And like, yeah. And then he like doubled, tripled his business like right after because he was able to focus on it. And so if you have team members that are kind of dabbling, they're doing other things, they're not really like all in, all out, like focus on like look at the energy and see what shifts are being made there, but also look at the KPIs. Are the numbers still being hit? If so, cool, okay, no problem. If not, then we got to have a conversation and keep them on a very short leash as well, because there's nothing more frustrating than when you're trying to grow and you have your vision, but then they're going somewhere else. They're going in a bit of a different direction. And when there's like tension, you go nowhere. There's no growth. There's no progress because there's split focus and split direction and split vision. And so it's the worst thing in the world when you're like, all right, guys, here's where we're going. And then they're like, cool, like 1 foot in there, but I also kind of want to like dabble in this thing. Now, one consideration too is like if they're an independent contractor or like a 1099, you got to be really careful because like look up the law where you are. Where I live, anyways, it's like contractors can have optionality. That's like I can't tell them, hey, you can't work for anyone else. Then they're basically considered like a salaried employee. Then I have to like pay taxes and benefits and all that stuff, right? And I don't want to get into that, and you probably don't either. And so that's why like don't like fire them based off of that, but fire them based if like the performance and their work goes down, or if they're not showing up to calls or not clocking in at like certain shifts that you need them to and stuff like that, then that's when we got a problem, right? And so when the standards start to drop, that's where you got to pull the plug. And usually standards drop, and then the secondary consequence of that is the KPIs drop. And so if you start to kind of notice and sense and feel something going on, and this is super common in this space because like at least for me anyways, it's like everyone that works for me are like entrepreneurial. And as a result, they learn a lot about how to scale and grow a business. They help out tons of other people do it. And they're like, they see all of the money that our clients are making. They're like, well, if they could do it, why can't I? And I did the exact same thing. I used to work for my old business coach. And then I was like, well, if he can do it, why can't I? And so I went out on my own. And it's the nature of the game. However, it's important to understand that like you have the conversations very clearly and upfront. And the reason I'm making this video today is I was training at the gym this morning with one of my clients. He's a fitness coach who just hit his first 100K month not too long ago. I think I've actually had like 3 or 4 clients that are fitness coaches hit their first 100K month in the last like month or two, which is super cool. And he was asking me a question. He's like, hey, dude, so I've got 3 setters right now in the DMs. He's got over 1 million followers on Instagram. And so a lot of leads, a lot of people. And so he's like, I got 3 setters. One of them's kind of like, I don't know, kind of looking for something else. He's like, should I either like fire him right now and find a replacement, keep him in until he does find something else, and then from there find a replacement, or like just kind of, I don't know, not really do anything about it. I'm like, well, you're going to have to find a replacement either way, and you might as well do it now. And so he's like, fair. And the reason I said that is because I've had team members in the past where they like kind of tell me, hey, like I'm leaving, but I'll give you like a month or two and stuff like that. So I'm like, cool, I've got a month or two to like find somebody else. But what happens is like, it's a dead energy that looms. It lurks. And your business goes stale and stagnant for that entire period of time. And so like I used to think, I'm like, oh, I've got a month or two to find somebody new. It's like, no. Find a replacement immediately. And then immediately once you do, get that other person out of there, because it's the energy shift that's so important. You have to protect that energy, because if you don't, then it's going to bleed into everything else and all other team members and like your revenue and your sales, your community, how you show up to your business. Because if there's people on your bus that don't really want to be there anymore, like it doesn't make things exciting for you. And you start to like build resentment, and then it's not fun. And then you're like, I kind of don't really like my business anymore. But in reality, it's just the people. There's just the wrong people on the bus. Maybe they're the right people at one time, but now they're the wrong people and they got to go. And so I'm really making this video like for me to tell myself this, because it's a lesson that I've like been learning and wish I learned a few years earlier. And especially like as you're scaling up, when your ads start really cranking, you got a ton of leads and you hire a setter, then you're hiring a closer and a client success manager. And now you go from like solo operator and coach to like leader and manager and all of the other stuff too. Right. And so I see a lot of coaches struggle with that transition because they've never led or managed too much before. So they don't really know how to build and lead a team. And so this is one of the biggest things that has slowed down some of my growth. And so the biggest thing is like confronting and addressing stuff like this head on, and like kill the monster before it becomes big. Because every single time in my life I've like ignored it and just kind of like brushed it under the rug, it's come back down the road months later. And it's the same outcome that happens every single time. It's what I should have done before, but the universe now just like conspired to like make it happen, and like it like forces me into the corner to like make the decision, have a hard conversation or something like that. So it's like, okay, if it's going to happen either way, I'd rather have it happen today rather than 6 months from now or 3 months from now, because then that's just wasted time. And a really good frame of reference to the perspective on this is like, if you if you want to like build a really good team of people, then like everyone has to be fully aligned. If they're not, then you're wasting energy. People are going over here, people are going here. And it's like, if you think about it like a plane or like a rocket ship or something like that, it's like it has to be extremely aerodynamic. When there's people like veering off in other directions, it's causing friction, it's causing you to slow down. And so when everyone is aligned going the same direction, then it's as fast as you can be. And so that's what we want. We want growth, and we want it yesterday. And so we want that to align with how we want to, run our business. And it really comes down to the standards that you set as a leader and the standards that you hold as a manager as well. And so hopefully you can learn from this one, because you have to clean the stagnant energy. Otherwise, it will kill your culture, make your business not fun to run anymore, and it will suck. And so one last thing I'll leave you with is, this past weekend, I was having dinner with an entrepreneur who's built companies that have over $1 billion in enterprise value. One of his most recent ones that he exited, he took it public and sold it for $630 million. And one of his favorite quotes is like, fountains or drains. People in your life are either a fountain that fill you up or a drain that drains you of energy. And a really good rule of thumb is, if somebody is a drain, get rid of them. If somebody is a fountain and they add more value than they take, then keep them, invest in them, pour into them, right? And work really hard to keep them around and take care of them. And so when somebody is half in, half out, they're a drain, because half of their energy is draining somewhere else. And so if that's going on, you have to plug the drain, plug the hole, and then find somebody who's a fountain that can pour into it, because a rising tide lifts all boats. So if the water's going up, then everyone in there is as well. But if there's a drain, you need to work extra hard just to stay afloat, and eventually you're going to drown, and it's not going to be fun. So with that said, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your biggest takeaway down below. And if you want help scaling ads to then be forced to build a team and hire more people and turn into an operator, or turn from an operator into an owner and a manager and a leader, then book a call down below. We'd love to chat and see if we can help you do exactly that. We've helped hundreds of people sell probably close to 100 mil online at this point with our ad funnel. And so we want you to be our next case study selfishly. So if that's you, book a call below. Aside from that, see you next one.